Okay, great. Well, again, I appreciate you guys being here. Appreciate all you guys do. I know you guys got a lot going on. I see Grant's in his car, so he must be really busy. But appreciate you guys being here, coming back off another good week. Obviously, it's always great to win. We talked a little bit after the game about some of the things that we got to continue to get better at and understand as a program. But don't get me wrong, there were a lot of positives that came out of that game. There were a lot of positives that came out of the entire week. Really happy with the way our guys have really bought into what we're trying to do around here. I cannot knock these guys' effort at all. Are they young? Are they understanding? Is it new? Absolutely. But are they trying to do things the way we're asking them to do? 100%. So I applaud the players for their buy-in. And their buy-in without any type of, hey, we've done this before, we know it works. They're trusting what we're saying, and they're doing what we're asking them to do. I appreciate that. Again, appreciate all the fans and the community for what you guys did last Saturday night. Appreciate you guys really stepping up to the challenge. Obviously, we hope to continue to improve our attendance, improve our enthusiasm, improve our our stadium game day environment. But thank you guys for what we've done. Really happy about where we are, but also really excited about the challenges we have coming forward. So with that, I will open it up to questions.
Coach, when you see the CCU team, what stands out to you, especially on the defensive end about them? And I apologize for being in my car. It's only a quiet place in our building, to be honest with you.
You're okay. I'll give you a pass. They're good. They're really good. This will be the best team that we've played thus far in the season. The best overall team. When you put on the film, there's nobody hiding. There's no, oh, well, here's a weakness, or oh, here's a size advantage, or oh, they have a good system, but we have a size advantage. There's none of that. I mean, this is a real football team. And that's not a knock to anybody we've played, but we've been in a position where we've had some advantages. This game is going to create a lot of challenges for us, very different from the challenges we've had before. Obviously, the first game of the year, the challenge was the scheme. The second game of the year, the challenge was installing a new defense. This game is going to be a challenge because they're a good football team. Defensively, they're fast, they're physical, they're aggressive. They got a lot of returners returning. They got some veterans in the back end. The safety Ford does a really good job for them. He's a veteran. He's played a lot of football. You can tell in his performance that he's a veteran. These guys run to the ball. I mean, they run to the ball. They strike. They do a phenomenal job of getting the ball out. We've really overemphasized that they really put an emphasis on getting the ball out, whether that's attacking the ball in the air for interceptions or ripping the ball out from the runner. Obviously, we've got an issue with that we got to continue to talk about and get corrected. But something that's an issue for us is a positive for them, so we got to be aware of it. Probably the best that I've seen all year as far as getting the ball out or trying to get the ball out with a purpose. Obviously, I don't think their record is very indicative of their team. They're 0-2, but when you turn on the film, it's not an 0-2 football program. So our guys are aware of the challenge. With that, we got to make sure that it comes back to us. It doesn't matter who we play. We got to prepare really well. And then we got to go execute on Saturday. I think, having them here at the Joan is going to help. Hopefully the crowd can really make it really difficult for them to hear. Hopefully we can, get a couple penalties because they can't hear the snap count. Which will really give us an advantage. So we're excited about the challenge, but we fully understand what we're walking into.
Rasheem said earlier that their defense looks an awful lot like your defense, and they go about things in the same manner. You mentioned swarming to the ball, things like that. How similar are these two defenses?
They're similar. We talked to the team, yesterday about that. They got a lot of returners. Marshall has a lot of returners. They're aggressive. They pressure a lot. Marshall's aggressive. They pressure a lot. They're big. They're physical. Cassidy, welcome. A little late, but we're okay. They're big. They're physical. They attack. and they go after the ball. And that's, that's a little bit like us. When we pointed out some things that, they do just like us. We pointed out some things that we've done in camp to prepare them for playing this type of defense. But they're good. It's no, I mean, there's no doubt about it. And in the other couple games, I felt we had some advantages from a personnel standpoint in certain areas. This game is probably going to be about even. Every game's going to come down to execution, but when you have some personnel advantages, you may get away with putting the ball on the ground. You may get away with jumping off sides. You may get away with a pre-snap penalty. Well, when the bar is even, those are the things that end up biting you. I talk about it all the time. It catches up to you when it catches up to you. But that's when those things catch up to you. So we've been kind of trying to emphasize that over and over and over. And hopefully we can work through that this week and be ready to go on Saturday.
Coach, you've been around a lot, and obviously have had to digest a lot since you got here. You understand, obviously, that the symmetry of playing East Carolina. I think some of the Young Thunder Herd team is coming back. Do you use or will you use any of that for motivation or to tell your guys that, the history of the program and everything that they've learned since they got to campus?
Yeah, the one thing about Marshall is you don't have to remind these guys about the history and tradition. They're very aware. Probably one of the, out of all the places I've been, our current players have a better understanding of the overall history of this place, probably better than I've ever, anywhere I've been, which is a good thing. So no, you don't have to talk about, the significance. They fully understand it. Will we recognize it in our ceremonial or type deals? Absolutely. But at the end of the day, the best way that we can honor those young Thundering Herds is go out and have a really good week of preparation. Come out on Saturday and execute really well and play with a focus and intensity that ECU can't match for 60 minutes. That's the best way to honor those guys. And that's not by any means, I hope anybody doesn't take that as me kind of pushing it off to the side. But if you want to honor somebody, you honor them through your actions. And that's what we have an opportunity to do, and we'll be prepared to do that.
Coach, you made a comment the other day that, or in the post game rather, that, you were really frustrated with how the offense slow start, stuff like that. So what are some of the conversations on the offensive side that you're talking to, maybe in the quarterback room, on the skill level positions? How are you pumping these guys up so that they come out and put some numbers on the board early?
Yeah, well, I'm not Newt Rockney, so I don't really have a pump up speech, and I probably misspoke on Saturday. I was probably a little fired up. It wasn't a slow start. It was a sloppy start. Let me kind of clear that up, because we ended up going down and scoring points. That's what we do. We run so many plays. You're either going to score points or you're going to run out of gas. That's kind of our philosophy. So it wasn't necessarily a slow start. It was a sloppy start. The first two drives we got 4 balls on the ground. We got a fumble snap on the very first play. 4 or 5 plays later, we got a high snap, which Grant kind of bobbles. Ali knocks out of his hand. We get that back. We had a couple drops. We get a delay of game on a 2-point conversion that we made the decision on Monday to go for 2. So everybody knew we were going for 2, but everybody was celebrating that Grant scored. That was like, oh, we're going for 2. So it was more of a sloppy start, not necessarily a slow start. Okay, that's the first thing. Way to kind of magnify it or show them how to prevent those starts is you talk about what happened in practice. We started slow on Monday. We started slow on Tuesday. We started slow and sloppy on Wednesday, Thursday, so on. So you go back to those things and you just remind them, because now the whole time during the first half into the second half, I was grabbing leaders and saying, see how the way we've practiced all week doesn't allow us to perform our capability. And they were all kind of like, you're right. And so I think it was more of a learning opportunity, that we were able to learn from. There were a lot of positives. Don't get me wrong. I don't want them to think that this game was horrible, because sometimes when you win, you kind of forget to look at the positives. But the sloppy start is what I was more frustrated with than necessarily the overall outcome of the game. You really look at what Grant did. If you eliminate really 3 plays. The one where, he fumbles a snap on the very first play of the game. The bobbled snap, which is not really all him, but a combination of him and the interception. He played a phenomenal game. But when you're trying to close the gap, you have to focus on those 3 plays, because in a game like this week, those 3 plays could be a tremendous swing either in momentum and or points.
Do you feel like it was the perfect lesson going into this week, considering that ECU's defense, I think they forced 3 turnovers early against South Carolina last week, and defensively they seem like a fast starting team?
Yeah, I think, anytime you can learn from a mistake and win, it's perfect timing. You hope that you don't learn in a loss, and now you're going back and saying, see, I told you so. So I think, obviously, every time you play or every time you practice, every time you come to a meeting, it's a learning opportunity. It's more about, I'll be able to answer that question on Saturday night, if we've improved. Because, again, we said the same thing at Navy. Can't put as many balls on the ground. Can't, turn the ball over. Can't jump off sides. Now, did we minimize some of those? Yeah, we had 7 balls on the ground or interceptions at Navy. I think we had maybe 4 at NC Central. But we got to close the gap quicker. We can't say, well, 7-4, 3. Oh, well, we had 3 turnovers. It was good. That could be the difference. So I think we are learning, but again, it's a consistent, a constant talking about, a constant reminder, a constant focus on protecting those things.
Coach, if you look at the stats, look at the results, defense obviously has been very good each of the wins so far. Just curious, who are the guys for you maybe that are standing out, and what have they been doing to catch your eye?
Well, I think it always starts up front, and I think what we have is we have a good group of 6 or 7 guys who up front are really playing really well for us right now. Jamari Edwards, T.J. Johnson, Kroom, Kaufman, Owen Porter, Cumberlander, Shane Simmons. Those guys are playing really well for us right now, and we got a good group of them, and we're able to rotate. And then I think our linebackers, I talked in the beginning of the the season, they've been consistent, and that's what they've been, these first 2 games. Eli did a really good job, in the first game. Charlie Gray does a really good job in this game. So I think they've been consistent. Now, we've been talking about it. Our secondary has yet to be challenged. I think this week they will be. One, obviously Navy, didn't have the scheme to challenge the secondary. I think NC Central had a different philosophy on how they were going to try to move the ball, kind of eat the clock a little bit. So this week's going to be a challenge, and I think those guys are ready. These guys got 2 really good receivers. C.J. Johnson is a phenomenal receiver. Tyler Sneed, is probably your Julian Edelman, type receiver, and does a really good job of eating up space and working off leverage. So we're going to be challenged in the back end, so we got to prepare to be challenged so we can execute on Saturday.
Hey, Coach, Ethan Payne is a kid who's kind of a local kid. He's from Poca. He scored his first college touchdown on Saturday. Just how have you seen him grow, since he got to Marshall, and are you proud of the result that he put out on the field on Saturday?
Yeah, Ethan's done a phenomenal job. He comes in, he works, he doesn't say anything, he just kind of nods his head. He'll run through a wall and run back through it to ask you if he did it right. And whenever you can kind of reward a young man, for his hard work, you try to do that. And I think, Saturday was a good opportunity. He got in there, he was able to have some success, he was able to learn. What he's done is he's created value for himself. There's going to be more opportunities for him. Does that mean, he's going to be the starting running back? No, but he's on some special teams. He's got a chance to get in the game. He knows the speed of the game a little bit now. So I think it's really good for him to be able to have some success based on the work he's put in.
Hey, Coach, how about the effort by Garrett? We were talking to him earlier. I know you alluded to it a little bit on Saturday, but did you just play that highlight on loop all day Sunday to show your kids what effort's about?
No, we didn't. That's who we are. That's who the Coach Huff coach football team will be. Effort is non-negotiable, and I think what Garrett was able to show was exactly what we've been preaching since we got here. Finish every play, finish every drive, finish every day. And a phenomenal job. But I think Garrett just happened to be, and don't get me wrong, phenomenal job by him. But if you look at that play, we got 3 or 4 other guys busting their tail to do the same thing. Garrett just happened to be the fastest one, which I told him, he's the slowed down, slow-mo version of DK Metcalf. But he did a phenomenal job. And I think that's what I've been preaching. That's what these guys have been craving, since last year. It's been close the gap, finish. Well, you can't finish when you want to. I mean, everybody's probably looking at me. I'm the young, hot head coach who's running the score up on Navy, who's trying to call in timeouts against NC Central. It ain't about them. It's about instilling a mentality in our players. We are going to finish. Doesn't matter if we're up 30, down 30, 6 seconds left in the game, and we got Cam Finchner in the game, and we got an opportunity to get him another play. It's not about, why are you trying to run the score up? I don't have that much knowledge to run the score up. All I know is run plays, coach finish. Teach your guys that they finished the game for 60 minutes. So if I'm asking our guys to finish for 60 minutes, but yet I say, hey, in the last 6 seconds, let's just run the ball, or let's not play with tempo. Or you know what, we're up on Navy, whoa, pull the reins back. That's contradicting to what I'm asking those guys to do. Now, don't get me wrong. If we'd have been up 1 point, would we have finished the game in a different way? Yeah. But Ethan Payne doesn't get another snap. Caleb Coombs doesn't get a catch. Cam Fincher doesn't get a play. E.J. Horton doesn't have a touchdown if we're not having the finish mentality. And it's not something that you can finish on Garrett's long run, but you can't finish on your homework assignment. It's not something that you can finish because you're beating Navy, but you can't finish when things aren't going your way. So the mentality that we're trying to instill may make me seem like a hothead head coach, but it's not. I'm really a head coach that's focused, has a plan, and are going to try and teach our guys that the plan is the same every day. I know you didn't ask all that, but that's what you got.
What have you seen from ECU quarterback Holden Nailers that has impressed you the most? I know obviously he's been there for 3 or 4 years now.
Yeah, I think exactly what you said. You can see he's a veteran. He doesn't get rattled. I mean, those guys have played 2 phenomenal opponents with, App State and South Carolina, and those guys have done you could see him in the game. He's got poise. Whether he made a good pass, threw a touchdown, or got sacked, he came right back with the same demeanor. He's a tough kid. He had a long run there, and he got tackled and popped up. He's right back in there. I think, you can see his veteran leadership. You can see his decision-making, has some veteran, tendencies to it. He knows when to step up. He knows when to run. When he does run, he's still keeping his eyes downfield. He's not like the high school quarterback. As soon as he takes off, he tucks the ball, and everybody knows he's running. I think he's got good leadership skills because it looks like the guys play around him. Obviously, I don't know. I'm not in the locker room, but, it looks like they kind of, rally around him. On that last drive going down against South Carolina, some guys made some plays for him. So it's going to be a challenge for our defense. This will be the best offense we played. This will be the best defense we played and the best special teams opponents that we've played all year. Anything else? That it?
Coach.
Yeah,
Well,
we're good.
That's it.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you guys. Thank you guys for everything you do. Look forward to seeing you guys on Saturday, and ladies on Saturday. And go Herd.
Thanks, Coach.